not a Meryl Streep movie. I haven't decided what I'm gonna name this episode yet because we haven't done it.
Minisode?
I was gonna say, like, Minisode, Q&A. My joke was gonna be like, there's no Meryl Streep episode called Q&A, but that, so fucking lame. I'm so lame. But if you couldn't tell by the name of this episode, we're not covering a Meryl Streep movie this week. And guess what? We're not covering any movie this week. But we typically do, because this is a movie podcast. It's called The Swamp, and it's an acronym.
Stands for some whack-ass movie podcasting. We're a little burnt out this week. I just got back from Ohio. Dara's had a busy week. We haven't really had time to watch any movies, and also I just really don't want to watch Kramer versus Kramer or Into the Woods.
So fair. And we're just like, we could just skip the week because, you know, that's women's rights to skip a week, you know, for us. We deserve it.
In the last 2 years, we have skipped 1 week.
Which is fucking crazy. That's like, I refuse to call it in. But so, for this week, I was like, Emily, we could skip it. Like, let's just skip it. And then I was like, wait, but what if we just do an episode about nothing? Because then we don't have to watch a movie.
What if we just talk? What if we just did the thing that a lot of podcasts do?
Right?
And just
we just hung out. Like, I feel like this is...
We just talk to you guys.
Just, like, I was gonna, like, probably have these conversations with you via text over the next week anyway, so let's just do it on air and... let people just have a little, you know what, it's a little filler episode. It's, in theory, if we were the kind of podcast who had a Patreon, this would be the kind of shit we'd put on the Patreon.
Yeah. So if you guys dig this, maybe we'll start up a Patreon. And you can pay us $2 a month.
I was gonna say, is there, like, a minimum? Like, I know on a lot of, like, subscription-based, they're like, you have to charge $4 a month. And I'm like, damn, that's kind of high. But yeah, no movie coverage this week. I think we're just gonna chat. Personally, I'd like to start off by just asking you about, like, what media you've been watching lately. Because I feel like we never really have the time to talk about this. And personally, I watch a lot of movies and TV and, you know, music, podcasts, etc. outside of the homework required watching that we do for this show. So I felt like it'd be kind of fun to dive in with you. Like, what have you been watching lately?
So, watch-wise, I just watched, Scream 6 last night.
Holy shit.
I was in Ohio, visiting my partner Maya because they're there visiting family, and they're a huge Scream fan, so we threw that on last night. It was pretty good. I liked it. It definitely is not one of my favorites of the Scream franchise, but it's definitely decent. So, I mean, watched that. Watched, like, another, like, shitty horror movie recently. I saw Dune for the first time.
That's wild to me, because Jen and I every year watch every Oscar-nominated film as it, you know, gets released in theaters, basically, in time for the Oscars. So we usually have, like, a 2-month period to watch, like, all these fairly new movies. And I remember seeing the first Dune in theaters, and I watched it for the very first time on HBO, just in my apartment with Henry. And I remember, like, kind of, like, fading in and out of sleep a little bit, because it's long. Really? It's long. It's kind of, I don't know. And I was like, I don't really know if I'm into this. And then I saw it in the theater, like, a week later with my mom, and I was so captivated by it that I was convinced by, like, the power of, like, in movie cinema, that I was, like, hearing the score just, like, on big speakers or something just changed my entire perception.
The Kurt Hummel scream.
Oh my god. Which, like, maybe I also, like, was just a little sleepy the night we happened to watch it, but I truly, like, feel like sometimes there's a transformative experience watching something in a theater versus not to sound like an anti-vaxxer.
Absolutely.
Because there's been this weird thing lately, which, not lately, like, lately is in the past year or so, where there's been this, like, sentiment about the movie theaters where it's, like, sort of anti-vax or anti-mask, sort of like, we're here to do a normal thing. Fuck the virus. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people pretending like COVID is over, when that's, like, not necessarily the truth. But so, I felt so weird. I pretty recently saw the Dungeons and Dragons movie in theaters, and they had this pre-movie, like little commercial thing with the cast of the film. And they were all like, we're so happy all of you are here, in person, in the theaters. Like, it felt very, like pro-public gathering to me, which I felt like was so strange, because I'm like, I understand, like, on a personal level, liking that sort of engagement with media, but I don't really know if I support, like, you know, big conglomerates saying that that's the right thing to do, because I think that's just, like, a personal decision people have to make, and I just wasn't sure how I felt about them being like, movies are meant to be watched in a public space with 300 people. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Tickled me in the wrong way. But thoughts on Dune? Are you excited for the second one? I am.
Absolutely. I feel like I never really engaged with a whole lot of, like, sci-fi outside of Star Wars, but I do really like sci-fi, I'm starting to realize. So if anyone has any big, like, epic sci-fi movies that they think I should watch, I would love some recommendations. Just send it into our Instagram, hit our DMs, would love to hear them. But speaking of seeing movies in the theater, I did see one movie recently that I really wish that I saw in the theater was Babylon. I don't know if you saw it yet.
No, so I saw the crazy reviews about how it was, like, apparently a major Oscar snub, where people thought that it's super deserved to at least be in the categories like cinematography.
Absolutely.
I saw directing, score, things like that, but yeah, apparently.
I mean, you've seen the Margot Robbie, like, dance sequence, I'm assuming, right?
On Twitter, of course.
That deserved an Oscar in itself.
Yeah, wild. That it got no recognition.
Yeah. People either loved it or hated it, and I think that's a lot of where things got torn up, and why it didn't get nominated, really, but I really liked it. I thought it was gorgeous, and, like, as, like, sort of one note as it's become for Margot Robbie to do, like, the Brooklyn accent and be, like, the trashy, like, New York City girl, like, you know what I mean? I still eat it up every time.
Yeah, I think the only real criticism I saw of it was that it was too long, because it was edging on 3 hours, am I wrong? Like,
no, it was like 3 hours, which, yeah, that is a bit rough, but I didn't hate that about it. Sometimes it's necessary, and I think this was, like, a pretty, like, one of those, like, epic movies that did need that time sequence.
So I don't mean to butt in, and I felt like maybe we would just do a comprehensive Q&A section, but as our conversation is progressing, I think I might just pepper them throughout, because this is feeling pretty timely, is at It's Me, Pat Nee. I think your friend, Pat Nee, yes,
oh, yeah.
Said, are you buying tickets to Barbie? We asked listeners to send in questions, and
absolutely.
Pat Nee said, are you buying tickets to Barbie? Hell fucking yeah, especially the new trailer that came out as we're recording.
I know.
Just today, I think. I cannot get enough of this. And their marketing strategy has been fucking brilliant. Like, they are giving their target audience exactly what we fucking want. And, you know, I'm gonna be there in my 10-inch Barbie pink high heels. Like, maybe not opening night, because that's a little scary, but opening week for sure. I'm pumped for the Barbie
The question
movie.
is, which do you see first, Oppenheimer or Barbie?
I saw somebody say...
I think Oppenheimer, right?
No, I saw somebody say brilliantly, you see Barbie, and then you see Oppenheimer, and then you see Barbie again.
I like that.
Which makes a lot of sense. Is it true or not that they've moved the Oppenheimer release date? I thought that they said that they were shifting it.
I don't know.
I thought they said they were shifting it.
I haven't seen anything about that.
And then that there was, like, such a pushback that they maybe, like, changed it again. Honestly, I don't know.
That wouldn't shock me.
But I couldn't really care as much about Oppenheimer as I do about this Barbie movie.
No.
And...
well, I'm just ecstatic. I love Ryan Reynolds. Not Ryan Reynolds. God.
Gosling.
Ryan Gosling. I am obsessed with that man. I think he's perfect in this role. I can't wait to see him. But I'm really excited that I feel like Greta Gerwig has, not that she's been, like, a little indie darling or anything like that. Like, she's been a pretty big name from the start. Like, Lady Bird came out like a fat smash hit, kind of. And Little Women obviously was well known enough that, like, even if you didn't know Greta Gerwig, you're like, okay, like, let me go see it. But, like, I think this is really pushing her into, like, the stardom sector of directors. And I'm excited to see what she gets to do with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been seeing all these tweets of, like, Greta Gerwig, do a Candyland movie. Greta Gerwig, do this, which everyone's now just being like, make all these, like, obscure concepts, because I think through these trailers, we've already seen what she has been able to do with, like, not that Barbie is a simple concept, because Barbie truly is everything. Like, as somebody who went to marketing school, I think Barbie was always one of those things that was posed to me as this, like, failure of a brand to keep up with the times. And I've always wholeheartedly disagreed with that Barbie is never this, like, outdated version of womanhood, because the brand has always kept up and released new dolls that were fairly modern. Like Barbie today is releasing a lot of dolls that are reflective of like the diverse culture we live in, but the thing about Barbie that I just don't think is, as much as she does have blonde hair and big tits and like an unrealistic body proportion, is that she's a fucking doctor. She's a fucking like NASA scientist. The thing about Barbie is that it's a doll. No doll looks like a person. That's just not, that's not how dolls are, you know?
You think I look like a fucking Cabbage Patch Kid? That's rude.
Right, but so I just, in marketing school, whenever they're like, oh, Barbie is this, like, you know, antithesis of, like, this old wave
No one said...
I'm like, no, Barbie has every job and is the ultimate, like, feminist. You can get a Barbie who does anything, and that you have to look past. And Margot Robbie has a great tweet from, or a quote from recently where she's like, if Barbie is wearing a short skirt, it's not because she wants you to look at her butt, it's because she thought it was cute and fun, or something like that, where it's like, people who sexualize Barbie, it's because you're projecting that onto her, not because she is, like, asking for it, which I just think is so brilliant. So, I don't know, Barbie as a brand has always had sort of my love. A lot of doll brands, Bratz, just all of it, I just think is,
of course,
it's just, like, ultimate, you know, childhood fun, so I love it. But, are there any other... Not to, like, hard pivot, but are there any other movie trailers that have come out that you are just, like, obsessed with?
I'm really excited for that new Jennifer Lawrence movie that's coming out.
Oh, yes, the, like, rom-com where she, like, gets paid by the parents to date the son. Yeah. I want to go back to, like, I feel like everyone realized, like, how bad, like, not realized, but kind of turned on, like, those stupid, like, movies, because, like, they do have, like, a fucked up aspect of them, like, very much like the late 2000s, early 2010s, like, you know what I mean, sort of, like, oh, this is really grimy, but it's also really funny. No, so perfect.
Like, super...
There's an amazing tweet that's like, you know we're deep in a recession when movies like this are coming out. And it's like, like, not an insult, though. Like, it's like the easy A. No. It's like every movie that came in 2008, right? Like, every, like, kind of, sort of slimy, but, like, still ultimately lovable movie. I'm excited to see how that one, you know, ends up or gets responded to, because I think it's pretty different. I think going back to that sort of thing, the sort of PC culture, now it's camp. Right. It's people are think of it as like nostalgia, but I also thought the marketing for that was great. They put up these billboards like of the like fake Craigslist ad being like date our introvert son, and everyone was like, oh my god, what is this? But it ended up like being promo for the movie, which I thought was super smart. I know you and I also talked pretty recently about the, Yorgos Lanthimos, how do you...
Oh, the Yorgos Lanthimos movie, what is it?
Yep.
What's it called?
Poor Things.
Yeah, oh my god, I'm gonna lose my absolute mind when that comes out. It is gorgeous looking.
I felt the same way about the Ari Aster movie, Beau's Afraid, with the trailer, but I never went and saw that, so... Who am I to say? But the way of, like...
I don't want to be overwhelmed, you know?
But, like, making your movie look like a piece of, like, sculptural art, I think is maybe an interesting new era that we're entering with, like, indie or alt filmmakers.
I hope so.
Yeah, just, like, making your sets sort of, like, out of this world. I would love to see us full-on catapult into that, because as far as, like, production design, the absurder, the better, in my opinion.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Anything else? Any other movies that really have your attention right now?
Yeah, pretty recently, I think just a couple of days ago, the trailer for The Color Purple. Did you see that?
That came out. Yes, I saw it. I've never seen the movie, though, is the thing.
It's super interesting because The Color Purple is a book, which then became, I'm not sure which first, either like a stage production and a movie. And the movie was, like, a very highly critically acclaimed, like, you know, Oscar-winning, Steven Spielberg, like, amazing. I love it. But so this movie, apparently, is aiming to be more of a representation of the stage adaptation than a remake of the film, is their, like, pitch, basically. Which is super interesting to me because Oprah is credited as the main director, or producer, but Steven Spielberg is also credited as a producer, and he was the director of the original movie. So he's producing a remake of his own movie, but they're saying it's less of a remake and more of a, you know, another version more closely about the stage adaptation, which I'm super excited about the cast. And I'm not, like, one really big on remakes. I think it's kind of stupid, but I think I will be seeing this one just because the cast is really captivating to me. The main character, Celie, is played by Fantasia, who won season 2 of American Idol, if you're familiar at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like fucking Fantasia, which I don't know if anyone else can relate to this. This is just like such a nichely, like, born in 1998 thing of me. But I used to, like, when I was very, very young, like, sit with my mom late at night when she would watch, like, the earliest seasons of American Idol, when it's like, oh, you can't go to sleep, like, just, you know, stay up and watch American Idol with me. And Fantasia won season 2, so this was, like, very early 2000s. And also the Disney movie Fantasia, that, like, is just, like, has no plot and is just, like, animated shit. I thought that those two things were, like, one and the same for a long time. So that I, like, thought that when people said, like, the Disney movie Fantasia, I'm like, they made a movie about Fantasia from American Idol, or, like, that she's, she is the titular role. Like, literally, I think until I was, like, at least 12 or 13, I was like, Fantasia and Fantasia are the same, which I'm like, no, I don't know if anyone else in the world had that same experience of just being so confused, because Fantasia's kind of a really specific title or name or word, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's just like this weird thing, but I was like, oh, Fantasia from American Idol has a Disney movie. So weird. But yeah, those are the trailers, I think, that, like, as of late have been really catching my attention. But yeah, for sure, everything they put out about Barbie, I'm eating that shit up.
Do you watch, I think I know the answer, you don't watch Succession, do you?
I watch it through my Twitter feed.
Oh my god.
Which is, like, not, I follow, like, Succession with no content, or with no context or whatever, but I watched season 1, and then Henry, who is my husband, he, like, has this, like, fierce internal rage about, like, capitalism, that he was like, even though I understand that the point of the show is, like, objectively, like, criticizing capitalism, he's like, I can't just watch this show that's just, like, about rich people fucking up, like, it's just makes me too mad. And any show that we don't watch together, like, I only have, almost all of our TV time is, you know, with each other.
Shared.
So I was just like, oh, whatever. So I watched season 1, but then all the rest of the seasons I've just, like, absorbed. So I've got the main beats, like, I know the big spoilers, especially with this last season, I know the big spoilers. I think someday, like, you know, if the world ever shuts down again or whatever, if I get, like, a big, you know, week off, I'll probably binge the whole thing, because it seems great.
Yeah, you absolutely should.
The finale is, like, fucking this weekend or some shit, right?
Yeah, Sunday. I am really, really rooting for Kieran Culkin to get an Emmy for his performance this season.
I love the behind the scenes stuff about, like, him versus, who plays, what's his name? Kendall, yeah.
Oh, Jeremy Strong.
Yeah, I love the shit about Jeremy Strong, like, doing these interviews being like, dramaturgically, it just made sense for me to, yada, yada, yada. And Kieran Culkin's like, I just showed up to set and just, like, caught the vibe. Like, I just think it's so fucking good.
Yep.
Also, my fucking dumbass did not place together that Macaulay, Kiernan, and then that other rogue third one were all siblings. Like, with a last name like fucking McCulkin, are you kidding me? But I just, like, did not piece that together until I saw, like, a Nepo baby, like, chart, and I was like, Macaulay Culkin and Kieran Culkin are brothers?
What? Yeah.
So fucking stupid of me.
Yeah, TV-wise, I've been watching a lot of that. Obviously, I'm, like, gonna finish it this weekend. And I've been, like, slowly getting through that show Beef that came out on Netflix. Did you watch it?
I watched the first episode.
It doesn't do that much for me, but now it's like I'm already, like, halfway through it that I'm like, okay, I guess I'll finish it.
Yeah, it didn't grab me, and again, I felt like I saw so much about it on my Twitter feed that I was like, I feel like I already get what this is all about, and I just, like, again, like, so much of my TV time is, like, overlapping with, like, my social time with my husband that I'm like, we're just gonna watch the shit that we're already watching, so, like, what I do on my own time is, like, pretty particular, and I was like, yeah, this is, like, seems fine, but I'm okay. But I would love to see, Steven Yeun or, what's her name? Ali Wong, like, win, like, awards for it, because I think that their characterization, like, the acting was great. It's just, like, the storytelling was just, like, not my cup of tea. I think a lot of Netflix shit.
It's just all over the place.
A lot of Netflix original shit these days is really not tooting my horn, and I think that they're like, they had sort of their big heyday, and now it's kind of falling out, and I think they're really grappling to get back, like, up on original series. Like,
absolutely,
they're trying so hard to put this Stranger Things, like all the shit that they had that was popular, they're like holding on to so hard that they're actually like losing their fan base.
The vice grip.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we need Stranger Things to be successful so hard that they actually end up just like diverting away from what the fans want to see. It's a lot of it is really frustrating for me, and not that I could be a CEO of any of these big companies, but just like, HBO Max, are you kidding me? Who the fuck is Max? Like, what the fuck is that about? Jen, oh my goodness. So lovely of you to drop in to do a mini chocolate or vanilla for our mini episode. I texted you 10 minutes ago and said, Jen, can you whip something together? And you said, yes, of course. For my interim podcast segment that I host, I would do anything. So you're going to say two things. We're all going to say which one we like better. That's chocolate or vanilla. It's the game. How are you?
I am good. How are you guys?
Not too shabby.
I'm pretty good.
Awesome.
Is there a theme, or is it just...
Yeah, so here's the Minisode, and it's acronyms.
Hell
okay,
yeah!
word.
Because SWAMP is an acronym, stands for...
Some whack-ass movie podcasting.
Some people have asked me, like, how we came up with the name for this, and I truly... like, not to toot my own horn, but I did not come up with the words or the letters first. It all hit me at the same time. Like, the entire conceptual thing was just one cohesive thought, which is maybe the one stroke of brilliance I've ever had in my entire life.
I remember getting the text, too, because we had gone through a lot, and by we, I mean you brainstormed a lot of names, and some of them were a lot more foul than the ones that we... decided on.
And considering, like, honestly, I feel like having the word ass in it, I never thought would be an issue until I'm, like, buying podcast merch for my in-laws for Christmas. So I'm like, oh, fuck, they might not want a sweatshirt with a swear on it. Like, that's not for everyone.
So, chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
I'm gonna switch back to vanilla this week.
Yeah, I'm gonna go chocolate. YOLO, BOLO, or BOGO?
YOLO, what is BOLO?
BOLO.
Like a bolo tie?
No, a BOLO is on cop shows when they go, put out a BOLO, it's be on the lookout. And
what was the last one? BOGO?
BOGO is buy one, get one.
Okay. I guess it's gotta be BOGO. Buy one, get one.
Right? Who doesn't love a deal? I'm also gonna jump on BOGO.
I love BOGO, but I also love when the boss cop says, put out a BOLO, and it's like a big deal. And you're like, yeah, everyone's be on the lookout for this car. Like, it's like a big decision. Okay, next one is PEMDAS or ASAP?
ASAP. Fuck a PEMDAS. Although I will say, one of my big pet peeves is in reality TV shows, specifically MTV's The Challenge, which Jen and I watch. They'll do math problems as like part of the challenge, and it'll be like, 45 divided by 5 plus 7 times 3, and the answers, like, I'm fucking bad at math, but even I'm not dumb enough to realize that the correct, quote-unquote correct answer that they're giving is doing the problem left to right and not doing the problem with PEMDAS. And I'm like, I need to write a formal letter into MTV being like, that's fucking 6th grade math, my dude.
Yeah.
PEMDAS.
Yeah, come on. You're setting them up for failure, really.
But ASAP. I love ASAP. Just,
yeah.
I'm doing everything ASAP.
Yep, I'm an ASAP girly as well.
Yeah, ASAP for me too. Next one is MoMA or TGIFs?
Museum of Modern Art or
Fridays.
Thank God it's Friday. I mean, class, like, it's classier to go to the MoMA. I'm just associating the TGIF with, like, TGI Fridays, the Applebee's adjacent restaurant, which is just, like, Applebee's minus like 2.
Yeah, that's what I meant by
I'm
it.
gonna go. I'm gonna go with the MoMA is pretty fire. I'm gonna say I've enjoyed all my visits there.
I haven't been, but I would like to go. And I went to an art museum recently, and so now I'm kind of on my kick. So I'm gonna go with MoMA as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna
It's got a lot of really iconic ones. It's got like a Starry Night, I'm pretty sure. Like it's got a lot of biggies. Like you can do one trip and see like a lot of like the most famous art in the fucking world.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. I'm gonna go MoMA. And next one is AOC or RBG.
I guess I mean this might be controversial of me, but I think I'll go AOC because AOC hasn't done anything yet quite that has like changed the political landscape in a drastically negative way, whereas unfortunately I think RGB not retiring before she fucking died and letting Obama nominate another justice rather than just sticking it out and letting, dying during the Trump. I mean, she had to have known. She was fucking old. I just have respect for the justices who step down and, like, as a move to let the president who agrees with their policies. I don't know. That kind of pissed me off at the very end there.
She kind of just, like, reversed everything she did.
Yeah, maybe not to that extent, but I think everyone, like, girl bossifies RBG, but when you actually look at a lot of the shit she did, it was, like, a lot of it was hit or miss, Like, 50-50. Some of the shit she did was, like, not as progressive as you might think. But AOC, I guess, also, I think there are some valid criticisms of her out there, but I think she has at least not done something to that extreme that I've been like, ugh, so. Yeah, politically, that's my opinion. I'm not super educated, though, so.
Yeah, I kind of dropped off the keeping up with AOC within the last, like, 3 or so years, so I don't really know. But RBG's dead, so I'll pick AOC on this one. She's still got time to do some good.
I'll pick RBG as a shout out to Erin, who loves RBG. She is a stan.
I mean, yeah, RBG was a great justice as far as, like, historically, we haven't had, too many phenomenal ones, so that's, like, low bar, but still not too bad.
Okay, and the last one. POTUS or FLOTUS?
FLOTUS.
Yeah.
I mean, simply, I think that I think FLOTUS is an amazing name for a cat. If anyone wants to steal that out there.
Stop. That is so good.
My cat FLOTUS? Are you kidding me? But, I think FLOTUS is almost more important than POTUS when you think about it in some ways.
The way you can just refer to your cat by so many different names after that.
Right? You can be like, Nancy, get on in here.
I'm also gonna go with FLOTUS because it is not nearly as stressful of a job. You're kind of just vibing.
Yeah, I think FLOTUS over POTUS all the time. And that was it for the mini episode. I just did a few.
Slay! I love it. No.
Thanks, Jen.
Amazing. We love an acronym on this podcast.
You're welcome. Have an awesome night, and I'll definitely see you guys soon, right?
Hell yeah, yes, we'll see you next week.
All right, bye.
Bye. But TV-wise, you said you usually just jump on you and Henry's, like, typical watches. Anything good lately?
Yeah, Henry and I have been trying to go through, like, what are considered the sort of pillars of TV culture, like, classics. So just to, like, just to feel culture, and I'm not talking, like, Seinfeld or, like, those kind of classics, but I mean, like, like, culturally renowned as, like, the best TV ever made sort of deal. So, like, we, like, a hot while ago, we watched, like, all of The Sopranos, and just, like, really got into that. But so we're watching The Wire right now, which is pretty similar. It's, like, early 2000s. Okay. It's, like, I don't even want to call it a cop drama show because it's really not what you would expect as far as, like, a procedural, like, every episode we get a new case. Like, that's really not what it is. It's, like, each season follows them, like, over an arc of an entire, crime investigation. But it's equal parts about the cops as it is about the criminals. And it's the criminals are portrayed in a somewhat sympathetic way that you understand that it's, like, all about them, like, doing the best in the situation that they are in, sort of thing. It's not, like, like, they're not portrayed as villains, per se. It's more just, like, characters and people. And I don't know. I'm really loving it, as far as, like, early 2000s TV that was, like, more woke than it should have been. I guess. But I'm really enjoying it. We're on season 2. I think there are 5 seasons overall. But we've been going through all of the, like, he had never seen Breaking Bad, so we watched Breaking Bad fairly recently. We've been just going through, like the big heavy hitters of TV, which I really like because you can watch, like, just 1 or 2 episodes and feel, like, really fulfilled, which is kind of nice, you know, that rather than just, like, a ton of time of just, like, mindless bullshit, which I feel like I kind of prefer. Yeah, that's what I've been doing for TV, and then otherwise, I think just in my personal time, I would say I, like, more am a podcast person than a TV person. If I need to, like, put something on, like, while I'm doing shit around the house, I'd rather it be, like, in my ears than with my eyes, but that's just me.
Well, any good podcasts then? Because I haven't hardly listened to a podcast before we started doing this, and I still don't really listen to any, except for Ashley Gavin's We're Having Gay Sex. It is spectacular. Ashley is a comedian. She has a co-host, usually of rotating people who are either comedians or just funny in general. And she'll get, like, she had, for any of my queers out there, she had Shannon Beveridge on recently. She also had Jojo Siwa and, like, Sarah Shower and, like, just a amazing rotating cast of people. And comedians and just funny personalities on there. And they go and each one of the 3, like, they'll shoot the shit for a while and then they'll share, like, a gay sex story from either that week or from, like, the past and everything like that. And it's hysterical. Like, Sarah Shower, like, ended up on her episode was, like, telling her hookup, like, oh, this Lord of the Rings, like, book that you have, this edition is worth $3,000, if you didn't know that.
Holy fuck. That's fucking wild. I love Sarah Shower.
I would highly recommend anyone who is queer and loves comedy and is just looking for, like, a good podcast to, like, make you giggle throughout the day to go listen to that. And Ashley Gavin, if you or any of your people are listening to this, we would both love to be on your podcast.
Oh my god. I mean, not to pivot, but I'll say my short answers is that I listen to a lot of Drag Race podcasts. I watch Drag Race as it comes out, and then I fill my week with Drag Race content. But my favorite, they don't need our fucking sponsorship, but Dungeons and Daddies has been on my fucking mind. I listen to about 3 or 4 episodes a day, which is crazy because they're like an hour each. But it's a Dungeons and Dragons podcast where they all play as, like, dads, like, emotionally stunted dads who have been thrown into, like, a fantasy world and they have to save their sons. And all of them are just so funny. Like, there's, like, a granola hippie dad and, like, like an emotionally stunted stepdad and then, like, a football coach dad. They just all, it's so funny and it's such a hot new take on D&D podcasting that I think I just appreciate because it's more about the roleplay and the comedy than it is about the actual gameplay, which is how I like D&D personally, but I've been absolutely loving it. Beth May, who plays Ron Stampler, the stepdad, if you want to come on here, I would literally shit my pants. But I wanted to transition both of those questions.
It's so funny. Wait. It is so funny that you bring that up because one of my coworkers recently, like, recommended that podcast to me, and she said the same thing. She's like, I am obsessed with it. Like, you will run through it.
It's so funny. It's truly, like, if you want to listen, I don't want to compare it to The Office, because
it's all improv, right?
Yeah, it's truly, like, funnier. It's the same kind of, like, comedy as your favorite sitcom, but as, like, a D&D podcast. But even if you don't know anything about D&D, it literally doesn't matter because it's just, like, it's all improv comedy, basically, and it's fucking hilarious. But I think this was kind of the natural segue into a couple of questions that we got, which one was D&D related, and Rainy_mornings_ on Instagram asked, if y'all were a D&D class, what would you be? And Emily, I knew you wouldn't know anything about this, so I asked my husband Henry prior to this episode what he thought, because him and I both have played D&D, him a little bit more than I, but he also has been a dungeon master, so I was like, Henry, what do you think, like Emily and I? And he said that I'm probably a bard, which is, like, kind of fair. That I think anyone who has a podcast is probably a bard. They're, like, the, like, high charisma score kind of players. Which, it's like, if I think highly of myself enough to think that people want to hear what I fucking have to say, like, obviously I'm gonna try to be like a schmoozer and a bard, but Emily, he said that he thinks that you are a ranger, but not in the way that a lot of D&D portrays a ranger, but more in the way that Aragorn from The Lord of the Rings is the ranger, like, in like a... like, it's hard to describe, but I feel like if you've... Which, again, you've never seen Lord of the Rings, so this is, like, hard.
I haven't seen Lord of the Rings either.
Hard for me to portray to you, but in a way that you're, like...
I know.
Like, you're sticking to your personal morals, but you don't really play by the book. Not related. Your partner, Maya, asked, what movie character would you say your co-host acts like the most? And I would say you don't have to answer this, because I prepped my answer, but I think for you... Like, I just cannot ever not see you as Rosie from Mamma Mia, because...
Oh my god!
Because your twin sister Alyssa, and then Alyssa's, like, best friend Juliet, the three of you have sort of deemed yourself as, like, the trio of women from Mamma Mia, and then whenever I see the three of you together in any social situation, you just morph into them. It's so funny to me. Like, you just become those three people, and I absolutely love it. I don't know if I would notice it if you hadn't pointed it out to me, but I'm like, you're fucking Rosie, and Alyssa is, what's the name of the woman with the bob? Like...
Tanya.
That's the two of you. I just love it.
Yeah. Why is the first thing that's jumping in my head for you Michael Cera's character from Superbad?
Wait, I'm like, I don't know if I should be offended or if I should love that. At least you didn't say Fogel. Like...
No, you're not Fogel.
Oh my god, I could be Fogel. Oh my god, that's so funny. You're not wrong. But I also, your sister Alyssa asked us 2 questions and said... at Akevra on Instagram, shouts out Alyssa, thoughts on claymation, which I feel like this is a pointed personal attack, because doesn't Alyssa hate claymation?
Hates claymation. Like Chicken Run, or what's that dog one, that was like around, that dog and the human?
Wallace and Gromit?
Yeah, Wallace and Gromit. That type of claymation, she, like, viscerally hates.
That's so funny to me, because I find claymation so endearing. And, like, as a kid, I never found it to be frightening. Even, like James and the Giant Peach, you could maybe argue that... Which
was some spooky
shit. That
shit.
could be a little scary, but, like, I personally never found any of it, like, disturbing. I loved it, especially as, like, into my teen years, like, Coraline... And a lot of the Tim Burton ones, like, I found very entertaining. And I think it's such an interesting medium. I love watching the shit about, like, how they do it. Like, the practicality of it, I think, is so fucking amazing and interesting. And Alyssa, I know that was pointed towards me, but... but her other question was, how'd y'all meet?
We met... Okay, well, I remember you very vividly.
Oh, no!
As a 7th grader, because me and Alyssa had a nickname for you.
Feather Girl?
We didn't know your name. Yes. So Dara, to us, her name was Feather Girl, because if you don't remember, what was it, 2012?
Oh, roughly.
I think, something like that. 2012, when people would go and they would, like, braid feathers into their hair... I had
Dara
had about
earrings.
20 of them.
Yeah, the earrings for sure. I had the crimps in my hair, but I wore the big feather earrings, was like my style for sure.
So I remember that was my first impression of you, but like we started hanging out through, like, because we were both in band, I think. Like,
oh, for sure.
7th grade, 8th grade sort of thing.
Yeah, I would say like band was the big unifier as far as like we were in a lot of the same, like, extracurriculars, and we did, we did, like, the band for the show choir and the jazz band and all that stuff, but the big thing that stands out to me is that, for some reason, the way that, like, the alphabetized lockers, like, snaked around, even though you were K and I was S, we were across each other in gym class, and all the band kids had the same gym class because, like...
Oh my god, yeah.
And so you and Alyssa, your lockers were, like, right across from me. So you guys would always talk about, like, what music you liked, and you'd be like, oh, the new Mumford & Sons, or, like, the new Fun album. Because, like, the two of you had, like, a nice little social rapport because you were twins. And so I would always just try to, like, get it on your conversations because I was like, oh, like, they're already, and I don't even think I realized that you were fucking related, but I was like, oh, like, they're, like, having a conversation about music, so I'll just, like, slip in on that so I don't seem, like, weird. But it was because, like, our gym lockers were together, I feel. But ultimately, I think it was because, it was because we were in band all together, which is also how I met my fucking husband, Henry, which there's, like, a distinct memory of him, like, you dared him to, like, drink a whole bottle of honey, and, like, I didn't even know him that well.
Oh my god.
But you were like, can you film him, like, drinking this bottle of honey for, like, Instagram? And I was like, okay. And I was like, I guess I'm gonna marry that man. Like... Shook.
Oh my god. That video is definitely still floating around somewhere on the interwebs, but I remember that vividly. Oh my god, that was so funny.
For sure.
That was so, like, little of us.
But Sophia Dupree also said, dream guest star for the pod, would love to see Movies That Raised Us and a Swad Pomp collab. So, Swamp Pomp? What did I just... Swad Pod.
Swad Pomp?
Swamp Pod. That's kind of a... Movies That Raised Us and Swamp
That's
Pod.
That's actually so funny, though.
Yeah, so I wanted to bring this up, Sophia, not just because your question is great, but also because we were recently presenters for, I don't know if it's come out yet in this time, I think it's like a little bit on the horizon, for Movies That Raised Us. They do the Star Dazzle Awards, which they do like a recap of all the movies they've covered that year with like a poll voting system of like best this, best that, and it's amazing. We got to do the best besties award, so Emily and I got to present for that, and it was fucking awesome. And I don't think it's happened yet, but I'll put a link to their podcast in the description below. Everyone should go listen to us on the Movies That Raised Us pod announce the best besties award, because we were honored to even be presenters.
Yes, present.
But we hopefully have something in the works with them because they're fucking awesome. So hopefully we'll be collabing with them soon.
Outstanding.
But if y'all have anyone you in mind, like other movie podcasts or even just other random non-movie podcasts you like listening to who you think would be a good match, definitely like DM us and let us know, because we love... honestly, me personally, I love being exactly 2.5 glasses of wine in and going on TikTok and like randomly DMing people and being like, be on our podcast.
Yeah.
And either they like don't respond or they're like, who are you? Which is just like hilarious to me the next day. But we love trying to reach out to new guests. So definitely with that. But yeah, we I would say, oh my god, dream guest on the pod, like that's on MAY-ryl Streep. You can't ask me this because I would be too scared to talk to MAY-ryl, but I feel like you said a good one before, like Sarah Shower, but like Brittany Broski is like my dream friend. Like
Brittany Broski is definitely more aligned with us, I think.
Like Brittany Broski, I truly in my heart was like, oh, like we would be besties in another life. I feel that. But like I have so many dream guests or
yeah, I'd love one of my favorite comedians right now is Mae Martin, who is great comedy special just came out on Netflix called Sap, but they also have this amazing show called Feel Good that came out like about 2 years ago or so.
Yes.
And I'm obsessed with it. Yeah, have you watched it, Dara?
I haven't watched it, but I know exactly who you're talking about, again, through like Twitter, like clip type beat. And
they're hysterical. They're insightful. Yeah, they're on like Taskmaster. Yeah, Taskmaster right now, and they're just hysterical.
Oh, okay. Goetz Christina said, favorite movie of all time? Christina, you cannot ask us that. That's a fucking... Emily,
that's disrespectful.
Do you have an answer? Because I fucking don't. That's the hardest question ever. Like, you could ask me honestly, if you like said favorite song, favorite band, favorite almost anything else, I think I could at least like muster up an answer for you. But favorite movie is so hard. Like favorite movie in what category? For what mood? For... oh my god, like, gun to my head, favorite movie? I don't know, man.
I'm very, like, staunch about the movies that I will put on my, like, rotating top 4 for Letterboxd, and they've stayed the same for a very long time. And right now, I'm probably gonna change it up, actually, now that I have said this. For the longest time, it's been 20th century women, but after watching Moonstruck about 3 times within the last year, I would say I think Moonstruck is probably my favorite.
How do you even see what are your top 4? I don't even think I have a top 4 on Letterboxd.
Go to your profile.
I'm on it right now. What does it say? It's like,
do you not have a top 4?
I don't think
it's like
so.
the 4 that are like, Dara, it's like the 4 that are like attached to your profile.
I don't think I have any.
Like, go to my profile. Go look at my profile.
I don't think I have any.
Dara, what the fuck? Oh my god. Do you see, like, look at anyone else's profile right now, whoever you follow. Like, literally anyone else's profile, and you'll be able to see, like, their top, like, 4 movies that are, like, attached.
No,
Oh my god, no, you don't have a top 4. Dara, what the fuck?
Am I supposed to? I didn't realize I was supposed to.
Yeah. Are you on someone else's profile?
That's hilarious. Yeah, I'm on yours.
Do you see what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I'm looking at yours. I didn't realize that was a thing I could do.
Why did you watch Demolition Man twice?
No, because sometimes you rate it and then you go back. I think it's because I had 2 different reviews.
You can edit it. You can just edit it instead of
No, but I had 2 different thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair, actually.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
No, I wanted to post 2 different comments, but my star rating remains the same.
Got it. Well, this is for anyone that doesn't yet follow us on Letterboxd. You can find our Letterboxd in the description. I would, honestly, please follow me. That's probably where, like, I interact with people the most. I love that app, as fucking gross as that is to say, as, like, a movie person. But I don't know. It really does something for me. And maybe soon you'll be able to see what Dara's top 4 are.
But we said this was going to be a mini-sode, but it's turning out to be a fairly normal sode. Because we just like to chat. And honestly, this is like so, I don't know, irreverent and random. But if you would like more of this, just let us know, because truly, Emily and I, this is just like the text messages we would have throughout the week compiled into a verbal podcast episode. So if you would like
100%.
if you would like more of this, just let us know. But we didn't really want to watch Kramer versus Kramer, so we just happened to do this. We thought this would be easier. And we love you all. Thank you so much for listening. Again, all of the shit to our shit is in the description below. This is the outro segment. If you're still listening, I truly love you. Send us all of your garbaggio, all of your thoughts, all of your recommendations. Tell Emily what sci-fi to watch. Tell me what you think my top 4 on Letterboxd should be. Tell me anything. Truly, honestly, all of your recommendations are so fucking good, and it's so hard to sort through them for, like, what to even do, because we've got this great list compiled, and we're like, oh my fucking, because, we try to do it by themes, and we're like, this is, like, too much fucking good shit to sort through. But we love you all. Thank you so much. Please interact with our shit on TikTok. We're still shadow banned because we say swear words, but that's the name of the game. But we love you all. Goodbye and good night, and goodbye and good night.